Thank you, Rennie. This is an incredible, incredible honor. Um, and as everybody else that's been up here has said, I'm truly humbled. Um, this game of basketball is beautiful. It's been so good to me for my whole life. But I'm going to go through my family a little bit. And when I've been practicing, Remy told me I had to write notes. I don't write things down, okay? Because then I get up here and I start looking at it, it gets blurry on me. Then you'll think, oh man, he can't read and all that stuff. And I'm not going to do that because it just gets blurry. That's all it is. And every time I've tried to talk, when I've tried to practice about this, I always start crying. All right. And I saw my man earlier. He talked about his brother and he got stopped for a second. I hope I can hold it together like that. All right. But I'm going to start off by first the picture from when I was at North Carolina. I apologize to everybody. I could not grow a mustache. Right. So I could get a little bit of a mustache. And then I used to put this mustache wax on it so it would be darker. So I could look cool. That's what I thought. And then I'd get it real skinny so you could see it more. And now I have to come up here and see that. So I'm like, oh my goodness, wow, that was bad, man. That was bad. Those are some bad years. Um, I'm up here because I was born into an incredible, incredible family. Um, and the head of our family is no longer here, my father. This is where I always struggle to talk. Um, my dad met my mom. He was 22 years older than her. My mom is here tonight. My mom had three sons. My brother's Pat, my brother Donald, my brother Michael. And then they had me, and then they had my sister Amy. All right? And we lived in the middle of the hood in Binghamton. All right? And we're a biracial family. And back then in 68, when I was born, being a biracial family wasn't that cool. Like right now, it's pretty cool. We've had a president that's biracial, so I've hung my hat on that. You've had all kinds of families now that have gotten together. I think the world has gotten smarter with that. But when we went through it back in Binghamton, it wasn't always cool. And the thing about my family is my dad never went to school. All right? Not one day. He didn't have me till he was 47. And when he and my mom got together, she had three sons, my three brothers. And I'm going to ask them to stand up because I want you to see them. My brother Pat, come on, Pat. My brother Donald. And my brother Michael. All right. And my mom is right here too. Mom, stand up for a second. And then my sister Amy. Amy, stand up. She ain't going to want to do that either. All right. And I have to point them out because when I was growing up, man, there was a lot of things going on. And I always wanted to be like my brothers. That's why I worked hard playing when I was little. They took advantage of me in ways because I was their little brother. So they'd say stuff like, King, let's see if you can break your record running down to the store to get us a soda. And I'd be like, all right, I'm ready. All right, I'm ready. And they'd say, ready, go. And I'd take off running. And I would run top speed down to the corner, turn right, go all the way down to the next corner, run in the store, grab my stuff, put it on there with my little bit of change, pay for it. And I'd run back so fast. And right when I'd come up the street, they'd start counting again. 20, 22, 23. Oh, King, you almost made it, man. You didn't break your record. And I'd be like, really? I didn't make it? I didn't make it? And they'd be like, nah, man, you didn't make it. Well, they did that to me like my whole childhood. All right? That made me super duper fast. Like, I was fast, right? And I did it all the way up until my sister Amy got a little bit older, and then they did it to her one time. And they was like, Amy, let's see if you can beat King's record. And she took off running. And as soon as she got out of ear where she couldn't hear anymore, they stopped counting. And I looked at them, I say, count, count. And they were like, no, we don't count. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't count? And I was like, man, y'all got me for like 4 years with that. Y'all got me. All right. So first I just wanted to be like my brothers, and they all played sports. And then, I was in the middle of the neighborhood. Everybody was picking on our family because how we looked. Then I wanted to be cool in my town. I watched all the guys in Columbus Park. I watched them playing. I was the little guy. I lived right across the street from the park. So if anybody was out in the park, I'd run over there with my ball, man, and I'd start showing them I can dribble, I could do all this stuff. And then what started happening was the older guys would get there and they'd take my ball. And I was the only one that had a ball in the neighborhood. All right. So I had my ball, and then the older guys would come, and I'd be on the side mad that I didn't get to play. Well, my dad was watching across the street, so he'd come over and be like, hey, you're not just going to take his ball. If you're going to use his ball, he has to play. So I learned at a young age just how hard this game could be, because I had 3 older brothers. I didn't get to win until I was 14, all right, because they were 7, 8, and 9 years older than me. And I just chased them. They took me places with them. And everybody that had a part of this is here today. Okay, my brothers, my sister, my mom. There's Ken Thompson, who worked at the Y, and I was the 3rd grader that he was letting play in the 6th grade league. And I was not mature enough to be in that league, because every time we lost, I would tear up the whole gym. I would tell everybody, you stink, we lost because of you, we lost because of you. I was the youngest in the gym. And then my dad would whoop me all the way home from the Y in front of the whole community. And Ken would say, hey, we can't keep having King do this. He might be too young for this. But he always kept letting me come back the next week. He always kept letting me come back. And living across the street from the park, on the other side of the park, there was Chucky and Annette Woody. And Chucky's here too. And that one's so cool is because they were the other biracial family in the neighborhood. Okay, so it was Chucky and Annette, King and Amy, and Andy and Paulette. And it was not anybody else. It was only ones that looked like us. And it just was just an interesting way to grow up in the middle of the black neighborhood. And you're a biracial kid, and your parents didn't. My mom went to school until 8th grade, and my dad didn't go to school. So I never really understood. Well, first off, he named me King David. He named me King David, okay? I didn't even understand it. My name was just King. I thought it was cool, all right? All I knew about King David was he killed Goliath. My dad didn't do a lot of explaining, but he named me that. So now I'm a little guy just trying to be like his big brothers. Then I want to be like the guys in my neighborhood, the older guys. And then you start hearing the stories that they didn't make it because they got caught up in drugs, or they got caught up drinking. They got caught up some kind of way. And when I was little, they were always saying, King, you could be better than all of us. You could be better than all of us. And I say I'm here because of this family I was born into. My dad was a boxer. He never went to school. And he pushed me so hard. He pushed me, he pushed me, he pushed me. I didn't understand. He pushed me more, he pushed me more. And his whole thing was, son, you got to do this to get an education. It's the only way we're going to get out of this. You got to get an education. All right? My brothers all went in the military. And I was like, I'm not doing that, man. I want to be like them, but I'm not going in the military. Not doing that. So I was this kid from Binghamton that was going to make it because my dad pushed me so hard. I had great coaches when I was a kid in Pee Wee, Little League, Mr. Gaetani, Jim Pace, my high school coach, Mr. Cordial, my JV coach, Mr. Nanny. I thought I was cool in 8th grade. Going into 8th grade, I was this guy in the town. Everybody was saying I was going to be the best one. And I wore my shades to my summer league game. And Mr. Nanny told me I'll never play for Binghamton High School as long as he was there. And I went home, and I was all mad. I got home, and my dad was like, why aren't you at the game? I said, Mr. Nanny's tripping, Dad. He kicked me out the gym. My dad made me walk back and apologize to Mr. Nanny for being disrespectful, for having my shades on in the gym. And if he would forgive me, give me a chance, I promised him I would never do something like that again. Okay? So then ninth grade, I'm on the varsity team. And cool things are starting to happen. All right? My dad just keeps pushing. The whole town is saying, man, you're starting to be this kid. Actually, eighth grade, I went to Syracuse camp. Howard Trish, Sonny Spirit, Wendell Alexis. I looked up to those guys so much. And now I get to go in with Howard. Another cool thing. But while I was at Syracuse, I met Rick Callahan. He's here right now, too. Long time Jim Boeheim assistant. Eighth grader. Had a good camp. This dude started hanging out with me at camp. I knew I was getting out of Binghamton then because the Syracuse coach took me to Burger King while I was at camp. I'm nice now. My game carries me anywhere already. I'm only in eighth grade. Ninth grade, I'm on the varsity team. We're having a lot of success. High school career. I think that's why I get to be in this. Okay? Because when I was a kid, I did a lot of cool things. A lot of cool things. And it was because my family loved me so much and sacrificed so much for me to be the one that got to do this. My brothers, I just wanted to be like them. And they sacrificed everything. They keep me out of trouble. They sacrificed their deals for me to be the best one. So I want them to know how thankful I am that those guys were my big brothers. Okay? And I want everybody to know that my dad was a great, great man, even though he didn't go to school. He raised me to be good at sports. That was cool. I got to play football, baseball, basketball. Got to see the world. All right? But he always used to tell me, son, if you get an education, no one will ever be able to take that from you. And so I got my degree. Then my sister Amy got hers. Her daughter got hers. My son Alexander graduated from Bucknell. I see the Colgate people in the building. My son, whose grandfather never went to school, graduated from Bucknell. That's one of my proudest moments. My dad's been gone for a long time now. And I know he's with me. I know everybody in Binghamton's with me because they've always been with me. I was the kid that everybody in the town, everybody put their arms around. Everybody gave us a ride. Everybody. We didn't have a car. Everybody helped Mr. Rice because he was the man in the neighborhood that tried to do for everyone. We were on welfare, and everybody ate at our house. All my boys ate at our house. I didn't realize that they didn't have anything either until about 7, 8 years ago when we talk as grown men. And they're like, King, why do you think we are always eating at your house? Well, we were able to do that because of the man that my father was. The grocery store in town used to let him have food. And then he'd bring his checks on the 1st and the 15th. And that fed the whole neighborhood. And I used to be mad at him because he used to always say, King, the Lord got us. And I'd be like, man, I need some new sneakers. And he always talking about the Lord. I need some new jeans. He talking about the Lord got us. And don't worry about it. The Lord got us. And he was 1,000% right. And I've been trying my whole life to have that type of faith. And I've gotten a lot better with it. All right. I pray for it all the time because I want to be as good to my teams, my family, as my father was to our family. All right. He picked up, met my mama, and from that day forward, did everything for her 3 sons, which became his sons. And when I got here, my sister, he did everything for us. He was a man of the community. He helped everybody. The guy who didn't go to school helped everybody. So I don't remember all the playing that I did when I was a kid. I remember some great things. I had great coaches. My former teammate Reggie Hawkins is here. But when I think back, I'm like, I remember losing to Vestal High School when we were number 4 in the country, and I didn't have a good day. We were supposed to win that game. We probably would have been number 1 in the country, being from a small town. That would have been pretty cool. I missed that one. Okay, but I remember that one. I know we won 2 state championships. Okay, and I have all my friends are still with us. We're 55 now, 56, a little bit older than that. And we're all still here. And we talk to each other as grown men and talk about how fortunate we are that we grew up in this town together and have these lives that we have now. But when I try to remember, was I a good player back then? I don't remember it all the way. The things I remember the most is when I left home and I didn't have that family with me, I lost my way. Started thinking I made it. And I embarrassed my family by kicking it too much, thinking I was so cool. I embarrassed my mom and dad, my brothers. And the thing about it was, they never said they were embarrassed. They just kept saying, King, you're going to be all right. The Lord got us. We're going to be all right. Don't worry about that. But I know deep down that I shouldn't have embarrassed my family like that. All right. So I remember after that, at Carolina, I met my beautiful wife, Summer. And it was hard on her because I still thought I was a little bit cool. Then when we met, I thought I was cool. I did. And she's been the best thing that ever happened outside of my family. Okay, when I met her, I wanted to be better. I made it hard on her. I made it hard to like me, but she kept liking me. All right, she kept liking me. She was there strong every day. My wife Summer's right there. And we were together for a long time, and we wanted to have kids, and it took us a long time to have Alexander. We had Alexander, and I was looking at him as a little guy, and I told him, man, all them crazy things your dad used to do, it's over, son. All right? I'm never going to embarrass you. I'm never going to embarrass you when he was a little guy. I'm never going to do the things that I used to do that embarrassed my family. I won't embarrass you, and I'm not going to embarrass your mom. And then 11 years later, I got blessed with Julian Rice. 11 years later. So now I got 2 sons that I'm trying to be half the dad that my dad was to us. And if I can do that, all right, he already graduated from Bucknell. If you ask him, I pushed him too hard. I was mean about it. And yes, I did all that. All right. And now with his little brother, he's telling me I'm a little too soft on him. And he said, probably because you think you were too hard on me. And I said, duh, you didn't talk to me half the time you're at Bucknell. All right. So this has just been great for my whole family. I'm glad that they were all here. Chuck's here, Ken, Reg, my nephew Corey's here, my big brothers. I would not be here without them. And then Astor DeVries Rice. I called him Blackjack. He was the roughest, toughest, meanest dad ever. But I'm so thankful that he was my father. Okay? Because I would not be here without Astor DeVries Rice. Thank you to everybody. Rennie, thank you.